This is just such a deep, deep honor to be in your presence. I wanted to just do a continuation of the first live stream that I did a few weeks ago. I realized that there was no way I could finish everything in one. And so we are continuing on and starting where we left off. And it was just looking and seeing and knowing that sacred, beautiful, divine, magnificent, miraculous vessel of divinity in this human form that we are. And when we can see ourselves as such divine, holy beings, we can love us in a whole new way. We're stepping up to a higher level and seeing us so completely different than all the I am not enough, I am not any of these other things that we have said for so long that have controlled us, and they're just not true. So that's where I want to start this call with. I just want to give you kind of a rundown how the call will go. So we will start with that, and we'll go through, actually, we ended with our eyes on the last call, and you may want to check out the first live stream because we went into more detail there. I'll maybe briefly go into that. So we will go from here to through our sacred heart, and then we also will fit that in with Rikka Zimmerman's 6 principles of life. We went through the first 2 on the last live stream, and this live stream we will go through the second 2. I'm so honored and thrilled. Really, I feel like I'm an ambassador of these amazing, amazing principles of life. They're not beliefs, they're just what is. And when you look at them and hear them, our mind can get in the way with them. And yet, if you try to refute any of them, it's really, really impossible. And she actually is writing a book, and she'll have all the scientific information out one day soon. So for those that need the scientific reasoning. But anyway, so, and then as I was doing these live streams, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm barely touching the surface of our divinity and how much there is to love in us. And I started to go back to where I first began this journey of self-love, like truly like looking at me, turning and looking at me and hearing my voice. And so I went back there in my mind's eye, and I just started writing, and this 8-week e-course poured through me. It was just amazing. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about it. The first class, I actually, I tell you a lot about myself, things I don't think that you would know. My really close friend read the first class and she's like, I didn't know that about you. So and the reason that I have that in there is because I want you to know that I can meet you anywhere you are on this journey. I feel really confident that I can. And this journey is, it's so magical. As you step into it, there's something that just keeps pulling you forward. And maybe not every step is easy as we work through as everything that we pushed away, that we really didn't want to face. When we actually turn and face it, like we will open up to so much gratitude and compassion for ourselves when we just be in it. And that journey itself is actually quite exhilarating. And when we can move there, more and more and more doors open up, and the world becomes the most magical, magical place. So that's where I know that we never really arrive because we just keep expanding, but there's so much freedom. I have more freedom than I've ever had before. And I have a lot of passion to help you move to that place as well. to get that place of freedom where you just feel so solid in knowing your most miraculous divinity. So we will touch on that 8-week course that will start actually the first week of November. Right now, let's just ground in. Let's just ground in. I like to breathe, just get in our body. Feel our feet, the ground, and feel our feet move down, 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 down to the center of the earth, sweet Mother Earth. The center of the earth is this beautiful, crystalline, beautiful, amazing, shimmering place. And your feet have landed on your very own crystalline Merkaba star, the star seed of you that is your pure essence. It's all of you. It's all that is. It's God itself in you, and it's your entire being and essence and all your blueprint, everything that you are. So here you feel more at home than you feel anywhere. Like you're here. This is you. And as you stand on this diamond crystalline Merkaba star, stand tall, and your feet just drink up that pure, holy essence, divine light and love and life. And have it move through the bottoms of your feet, up through your legs, sacral chakras, through your torso and your sacred heart, through your throat, through your head, through the top of your head. And this light just moves through almost like a geyser, like it just pours down over you and down again. Moves down, 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 down to the center of the earth, where you're standing on your own Merkaba star. And that light comes up through you again, up, 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 up. And this time the light goes up, 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 up beyond the sun and the moon and the stars and the galaxies and the universes beyond universes, until we are standing in the waterfall, the source of all that is. And its pure, crystalline, rainbow, shimmering, sparkling light. It's moving through, down through your hands and your arms, the crown of your head, down through your body, down through your legs and your feet, and down to that Merkaba star that you are connected to. And so in this moment, we understand and know that we are connected, heaven and earth, and we are connectors of heaven and earth. That's who we are. These amazing, amazing, divine vessels of light. So just breathe that in. Just be. I just want to, I'll just briefly go back to the beginning as we did on the first live stream. I am a magnificent, miraculous vessel of divinity in this human form named my name. And say your name out loud. And actually, before I get started, I really do want to say this, because I was thinking this the other morning. When we say things out loud, we really do make a cellular imprint. When we hear our voice, it makes a cellular imprint that even resonates more deeply within us. So it's always good to say things out loud when we're saying mantras or prayers, the truth of who we really are, so that will embed even deeper. So that's one reason. And the other reason is, I think I said in one of my emails that I would show you how to stop your mind chatter. And this is really one way, because when we open our eyes first thing in the morning, do you notice what your first thoughts are? Do you notice how you're feeling inside? I mean, sometimes it's your stuff. Most of the time it's not. And whatever it is, are you aware how you are inside? A lot of times it's not that comfortable. And I really have made it a practice not to get out of my bed until my energy has shifted, until I know and understand and believe inside of me how miraculous and amazing and beautiful and what a perfect vessel of divinity that I am. And in fact, the first words that I say is, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for my sacred life. Thank you for this holy day. And I say that even if it doesn't feel like it is at the moment. When I say those words out loud, and if I have someone beside me, which I often do, I mouth the words. And even mouthing the words is good, or whispering. And that alone could shift your energy. Sometimes, and actually a lot of times, it doesn't. It always does a little bit, but not to that point where I want to get out of bed. Like, I'm ready to receive everything that this day has for me. So I start with, I am an angel on earth. We are all angels on earth. I am a miraculous, magnificent vessel of divinity in this human form. So name my name. And when we say I am, that will stop our mind chatter when we are speaking the words, because you really need to focus when you're even mouthing words. And you'll find, if you just are doing this in your head, that your mind will start just spinning and spinning. But it's when you move down into the I am. And when you're speaking the words of I am and the truth of who you are, you're embedding the truth inside the cellular memories, and they're resonating with recognition. When we're saying I am not all of these other things, they're lies. And our words are creating our thoughts, and our words are creating our present and our future in every single moment. So it's really, really good to be aware. And it's really, really good to, for me anyway, and I just think for anyone, just to start with that during the day, or before you get out of bed in the morning. So I'll just briefly go over that. It's too hard. It's not too hard, but I just want to move into briefly start where we start with just being a vessel of light. Do you know how magnificent that is? Do you know how magnificent you are just being a vessel of light? Light dissolves darkness. You can be tipped any way, and light is still full of, like, if there's a vessel full of light, it can be tipped this way, it's still full of light. That way, it can be upside down, it's still full of light. Like, light is always full of light. And we get to move in our day being these columns and vessels of light that are dissolving darkness in every step that we take. Can you love that about you? Whew. Just my being and my presence heals, of being this vessel. And my breath heals. My breath that arises from nothing in every breath. My breath could only be God's breath in every breath. My breath heals. And then we talked about our eyes that heal. Our eyes that are the light in our eyes, that is the love in our soul, that heals. And there's so many things that our eyes do, and you can check the other video. And so we've moved from our eyes, and this is where we left off on the last video, which comes to our ears. Just listening. But before listening, there's silence. So our silence heals. How powerful is silence? Well, the light is silent. Anything that grows from the ground, it grows silently. The flower that opens up blooms silently. The butterfly that lands on a leaf lands silently. The breeze, the gentle, gentle breeze that rearranges things in such a soft way, silent. I remember I was on a road trip, and it was really profound for me. The sun was just rising, and there's a song about Mother Mary. And it's gentle woman, quiet light, morning star, so strong and bright. Gentle mother, peaceful dove, teach me wisdom, teach me love. So I was watching the sunrise, and it was so amazing how strong and bright as the sun rises. I mean, darkness dissolves throughout all the places that the sun on that side of the earth that it's rising. It's rising, and light is being shown on every single person, every single being, every plant, everything, good, bad, it doesn't matter. There is pure acceptance in that sun, that light that rose in the silence. My silence heals. Your silence heals. That's you. That's you. That's the divine, magnificent, miraculous vessel that you are in this human form named your name. So my listening heals. I listen. I listen for the voice of God in everyone and everything. I listen to the voice of God and everyone and everything. Like, you have that ability. That is your vessel that you were created with, that we actually can be and can do. My listening heals. My tongue heals. My tongue is an instrument of life. My words heal. My voice heals. My words, whether written or spoken, in any expression that my words are, love transforms them so that they land softly and firmly as love. My tone heals. My articulation and my sequence heals. My tongue heals. My throat chakra heals. My throat chakra is a stargate of love that reflects the divinity of whoever I'm with. My voice heals. It's you. It's your vessel. divinity. My sacred, sacred heart heals. My sacred heart is the access point from which my words move up through my throat and out my mouth. My sacred heart is the origination point from which my steps are ordered in the direction I take. And I feel the love pour out through my sacred heart and out through my arms, out through my hands and my fingers. My touch heals. And anyone who touches me is healed. That's you. That is your magnificent, miraculous vessel of divinity that you are. Can you love that? Can you just forget everything you've ever said about you that isn't kind? And can you just move into the divinity of how beautiful and incredibly amazing and miraculous that you are? That you get to move in this incredible, magical earth, and you get to be these things as a vessel of light and a vessel of divinity. Whew. So we just pause here. I honestly, oh my gosh, in my 8-week course, there's so much more about the tongue and the heart, the sacred heart. It's pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited about it. But let's just pause here. Allison, I just want to check in with you if there's any questions, if there's any anything that you have to add.
Everything looks good. I do have a question on kind of what you were saying, relating to that. Mm-hmm. You know, when I hear you speak, it's so heartfelt, and hearing what you're saying so resonates. I was kind of wondering, in the 8-week course, does it go more into how to integrate that into our busy everyday lives? Taking that time and putting that energy towards the I am in the everyday life.
Yes, and that's why it's an 8-week course, because that's, when I created, I just went back to the beginning, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I did. Oh, and how all the steps that really helped me move into that place of really appreciating that. So yes, that's what's so exciting, is I do that. And I think you'll find they're very simple tools that I used and ways. Oh yeah. Yes. To answer your question, yes.
Perfect. And hello to everyone. And if anyone has any questions, just use the chat box. But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Oh wow, there was something I wanted to say about I am, and it slipped me, but that's okay. I keep seeing, so this afternoon I sent an email about, I just had this vision, like, I think we've all heard, okay, to love yourself, start here. Put sticky notes on the mirror and say, I love you. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And I mean, I did that too, and it is good. But I just had this vision. So you know what, if that's not sticking, it's because we're so much deeper than that, and we're having a hard time getting through that surface thing that feels so foreign. But when we actually can move into our divinity, which in that 8-week course, by the end of the 8-week course, you will be there. I know you will. I'm hearing that song where, it's God living and breathing in you, and you look in the mirror and you can look into your eyes and see the light of you, of your soul. And honestly, for me, rivers of tears would flow. when I could actually see me in as I looked at my reflection, and it was like, I love you, sweet God, because it is God living and breathing through us. So I just kept seeing that today, those sticky notes, and it's like, you know what? Look in your eyes deeply into your soul, and you will see the love of you. Right now, I think we'll move into Rikka's. I'll go over the first two that we did, and then we have then the next two. So the first two, was I am, and everyone and everything is made of infinite love, is being infinitely loving, and is infinitely loved. And you can go back into the first video if you'd like. We go into more detail about that, just how we were created in love. Everything around us is love. It couldn't be anything else. Even though our mind has labeled things other than that, it's love. And then the second one was, I am whole and one with God. Everyone and everything is whole and one with God. And when we go anywhere, up, 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 as high as we can go, to the left, to the right, as low as we can go, aren't we always there? Like, we are whole. There is nothing missing. There is nothing to fix. There's nothing missing. We're whole and one with God. So when we're working with ourselves and loving ourselves, I love how these principles just totally fit together when we move it into our being. Like, I'm made of infinite love. And often, and honestly, with these principles, I use it for everything. It's like, okay, today, every conversation I have, every encounter that I have, every experience that I'm in, it's made of infinite love. And it's being infinitely loving. It is serving me in the most loving way, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. And it is infinitely loved. And I'm whole. I'm going to go through all of them. I'm whole. Every experience, every encounter, every conversation that I have today is whole and one with God. So the third and fourth one we will touch in today. And that is I am being served in the highest and serving in the highest. And everyone and everything is serving in the highest. And this one is really, really difficult for our mind often to, or not as easy to really say, oh yeah, like, I've been through so much pain. How could this possibly be serving me? Like, you have no idea. And yet when we look back at our lives and we're on the other side, it's not like we ever want those experiences back, but when we look at the gifts that they have given us, they've served us in the highest. And where we are today, every single step that we've taken, we wouldn't be here today if we had taken those steps and had those experiences previous to this one. The other day I was with a client, and she was really just, well, she was actually blocked in being able to move forward and make decisions. And she was just like, I can't make decisions because I just realized that way back when I left home, I made the worst decision of my life. And I married this person, and I've wasted all these years. And she was just in anguish about how much time that she felt like she lost. And as we unraveled everything in her life, and she actually felt the anger and the hurt and that she was feeling and all of that, and her fear, when that was released, and then she was able to unravel everything in her life, even those really, really difficult things, they gave her a gift, and they gave her exactly what she needed to be where she was now. And she wouldn't trade her life for anyone else's. It was like, it's perfect for her. And she is taking off in ways that she would never could take off now if she hadn't gone through what she'd been through. So I am being served in the highest. And even, I go back to this, when I start my days, every experience and every conversation and every encounter, serving me in the highest. So the fourth principle of that Rikka, principles of life, is I am being acknowledged by God in every dimension, seen by God, heard by God, felt by God, known by God, understood by God, supported by God, and accepted by God in every dimension. Everyone and everything is being acknowledged by God in every dimension, seen by God, heard by God, felt by God, known by God, understood, supported, and accepted by God in every dimension, including this experience I'm having right now, or this relationship I'm in right now. And the interesting thing about this piece about being acknowledged by God is that every choice we make, and wherever we're at in all of our humanity and all of our emotions and all our kicking and screaming and resistance, and it's all heard and seen and felt and accepted, all of that by God. And right with that is your true heart and your true intention that's being heard. So we have figured out in our mind how things should be, how we want things to be, and yet our true heart knows that we want this much. So it's kind of like, okay, our mind's like, I want this hamburger and fries. It's really good. I love it. I want that. And the universe is like, wow, I've got this like amazing organic steak and garlic mashed potatoes and amazing vegetables. Yeah, I mean, just this amazing, amazing meal. And you're in your mind going, I want this hamburger and fries. So our true heart wants the steak dinner. And it's right there. Like our experiences are leading us so that we actually can receive the very, very, very best of the essence of who we are, where we started even in this call, like the starseed of who we are, the blueprint of everything that we've wanted to experience in this life and receive, like is here for us, just waiting. And so that is being acknowledged. Every cry of our heart, our true heart, is being acknowledged in every dimension, seen, heard, felt, known, understood, supported, and accepted by God in every dimension. And when you think about this, like wherever you are, even in your darkest moments, and you feel alone, and yet you're not alone, are you? You're there. Everywhere you go, you're there, and God is there, hearing you, feeling you, knowing you in every dimension. So that finishes the four principles of life. Hold on just a second. My son just walked in, so I'm a little distracted, but it's okay. Just a little humor here. I forgot to tell him that I'm doing this, so it's all good. All right, so see, that was all totally acknowledged by God. Seen by God, heard by God. It's totally amazing. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Okay, Allison. Tell me what, if I'm
So,
on track here.
so yes, you're on track. And I was just listening and taking in everything that you were saying. So I have a question on that line.
Yeah.
So as we're seen and heard and felt and understood, it's like a lot of things. It's easier said than done.
Right.
So to embody that, obviously there's practices and stuff that you got to do. So like when you were given the analogy of the food, it was like perfect sense to me. But what came up for me was the question of like, okay, well, if I'm in my mind and I eat the hamburger and French fries versus the salad and the steak, something that is better for me, I mean, obviously the better food is better for me, but the instant gratification of the hamburger and French fries in that moment, the course and the learning these practices, how does that, like work in the everyday life? I hear you say you apply these to every situation, conversation. You've implemented these practices into everything. How long does it typically take?
So, if you have an intention, it moves faster because like I start my day. That's how I start my day. I'm not thinking about it all day long, but when I get bumped, I'm like, oh yeah, the principles. You know what? That relationship right now is being acknowledged by God. So I've repeated it so many times, and it's actually as often as you practice. As often as you practice the piano, that's when you become,
So it's like a habit. So by the time the 8-week course is over, we've gone through these enough times where they're in our mind. So the mind chatter will pick these up and say, okay, do this.
Well, right. And like for me, like my mind is chattering often right at the get-go. And that's why I literally stay in bed mouthing, whispering, or saying them out loud. I go through all of them so that when I get out of bed, my mind is quiet. I know who I am and I can take on anything. It doesn't mean that throughout the day I don't get bumped. And so we're so human. So love our humanity, and whatever is arising, that is really a part of loving ourselves, is loving these amazing array of emotions that we actually get to experience in this human vessel of divinity that we are. So, I know if you are practicing throughout these 8 weeks, it will roll off of it will be integrated in your system. Like, I'm sure it will.
Yeah. And that's what I was kind of, because it's, while they all kind of lead into each other and they're all kind of one, when you were doing the analogy, it just like totally clicked for me. And it's like, well, yeah, sometimes I still eat the French fries and the hamburger when I knowingly should do the other.
And we do, like, we totally make those choices because, wow, that is the greatest gift ever that we are given, is the gift of choice. We get to choose to create our life in every moment, every thought. So our free will is our free will to choose actually what thought we're going to entertain. And when we choose the thoughts we entertain, we actually create our life. We create our present and our life. So if we're going to choose things but even in the choices of everything that we think is negative, just like all of our life experience, they weren't negative. They were like perfect experiences. We experienced those, and because we did that, we're here now. So it's not like, oh wow, being hard on yourself at all. It's being like totally gentle. It's this awareness. Wow, I actually can create my life by just choosing to stand over here and love and know that I'm made of infinite love. I'm all of these things. And when I am sucked in over here, that awareness is, oh yeah, well, I get to choose love and move back over here. So we're constantly moving, and it's all about loving. And even the hamburger and fries, so what? It's just that the universe wants to give us even more. If we can just open up and let go to what we think is going to make our fabulous, amazing life, like the universe, like that's our heart prayer knows it's the blueprint within us, and it will unfold perfectly.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I just thought of this amazing, as I've been sharing these, amazing story, and I hope I can remember it right because it was a while ago. I've checked in in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I didn't check in yesterday or the day before when she came in, but she is diabetic. And so she's been going to the doctor getting things monitored. So these tests have come through, like they're actual tests. But so she started running the 6 principles. And when she came in a few weeks ago, there was some block that she was having. I forgot what it was, but we were just kind of went back, like, how old were you when you first felt that? And we kind of moved through that. And she had a really great awareness about numbing herself. And she said, I think she said years, I have numbed myself with a glass of wine and food before I go to bed. So she said, I went home and I said to myself, I don't need to numb myself anymore with this wine and food anymore. So she ran the 6 principles on it. And do you know, like that notion, and it's not like I said, like, there's no desire to do that at all anymore. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, I usually have wine, but there was like no desire to even the wine and food. There was no desire. And I kept checking. It was like 3 weeks. No, I'm really good. And she'd gone to the doctor, and I think she was working on her sugar blood, one of those. But anyway, the tests had totally come down significantly just by working these 6 principles. And you know why? It's because that's who we are. Like when we move over here to love and are totally in alignment with who we really are, like things totally move into balance. We're not sucked up into all these lies of who we're not and all the stories like, oh yeah, I'm made of infinite love. My diabetes is made of infinite love. It's infinitely loving. I mean, everything, and I now choose to have love be the most miraculous solution for me that there is, because I know that that's what love is. Love, just wow me with your miracles. I really, and it's already done, because it already is. We're talking about principles they're already done anyway. So
Teresa, I have a question on that.
Uh-huh.
Did she realize she was numbing herself before you worked the 6 principles on her, or is that what she discovered?
So no, when she was not in my office and she had this block, and I can't even remember what the block was, but when there's a block, when I'm working with people, it's, well, let's explore where did you first feel that, and what were you most angry by? What were you most hurt by? What were you most afraid of? When you start feeling all of those things and it starts coming up and releasing it, because we're meant to feel our emotions and we're meant to release them. And what happens is that we don't release them. And so they stay stuck in these cellular memories, and we hold on to them, and they've made imprints. And so everything in our life that we do that's even similar to something that triggered us way back then, it continues to trigger us more. So if we can totally release the cellular memory and all the emotion, we can breathe and we can move and we become aware. So she became aware in all of that process. Oh, wow, that happened back then. I started numbing myself back then, and this is what I started doing. I don't need to do that anymore. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. That's what I was wondering. Is like in that process. That's
Yeah.
because having a glass of wine or eating in the evening. What it was she even consciously aware of doing that? So in that process, she became aware of it. That's awesome.
Exactly. And I don't even know if it was bothering her at all. Like she was not aware of what was having her do that. And I don't think that it was even a habit that she had that she'd even thought about changing until we went
Right.
through that. And then she just had that awareness awaken in her, like, I don't need to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you, these are pretty miraculous, amazing, incredible principles, and especially when you bring it into you, this amazing vessel of divinity that you are. Yeah. Okay. So, is there any other questions, Allison?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
No.
And I'll just move in through. Actually, you know what I really want to do? I picked these. I love these crystal bowls. They are so amazing. So Crystal Tones has, I'm sure a lot of you know about them. They are made of clear quartz crystal. And I could have brought one, but I didn't. And then they have other gemstones with them, or precious metals. But we resonate so deeply with them because we're crystalline. We have a crystalline DNA. And just the light that we are, when we awaken the crystalline DNA in us, this is part of that eight-week course, we hold so much more light. Like it expands out everywhere. So the crystalline bowls that I have, when you hear the tones, your whole being wakes up because it's you. It's totally you. So this one was the pink aura gold bowl, which is in the C note, which is the grounding note, our first chakra. So I really wanted to bring love, that love tone to us. Just ground in what we've. And then I brought the kyanite bowl, which is the G, C, D, G, your throat chakra. And there's the pineal, the morganite. Anyway. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and taking your time. It's truly just an honor to be in your presence and your light. The 8-week course that I have will be starting in November. I will be getting more details on that and a website up soon. I just kind of wanted to let you know because, that's what I wanted to tell you, is that originally I was planning on doing the 4-day live event in over Thanksgiving time. But then it just felt like, wow, I really need to give people like 8 weeks really just steeping and savoring this whole process of who you really are and appreciating that, and kind of fitting the 6 principles in, and then do the 4-day like intensive, like the first of the year, like in 3rd week, probably in January, we'll probably be doing. So is there anything I've need to mention, Allison?
Final call, like next week, a call next week.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yes. So the final call will be next week, Thursday at 6:30. We'll have recordings if you can't make it, but I am, oh my gosh, that's the last 2 principles of Rikka's, and then just we move on down to our amazing, amazing sacred feet that are creating sacred pathways on this earth. We are so beautiful, so divine, so lucky to be alive. So thank you again, and I wish you a beautiful, beautiful night.
Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.